Hi, this is Mo from Pawl-Frederico Photography. Welcome to another episode of Phototech. In this edition, I'm going to talk a little bit about storage cards and what they do, what they don't do, which ones to choose, because that's always a very confusing part. So I've got two cameras here. I've got the Z8 and the Z6 II, Nikon Z6 II, Nikon Z8. And they're very similar cameras in some ways, but they're also very different cameras. Now you see here, I've got a sample of 4 different cards. Now this XQD card is the older kind, and that one will go in the Z6 II. You can use it in the Z8, but you don't want to. I'll explain that in a minute. So we're going to be able to use the XQD in the Z6 II, as well as this Prograde gold card. And I'm going to move that down here so we can see the difference. And that can be used in the Z6 II. In the Z8, because it's a more powerful camera and can do a lot more, you don't want to use either of those cards. If you do, you're going to lose speed. And speed with this camera is everything. That's why it exists. That's why you have it. So with that, you want really high-end cards. Now, there are a lot of cards out there, some good ones, Prograde, like I have here, the Prograde Platinum, or Cobalt, actually. The Extreme, the Sandisk Extreme, although I tend to stay away from Sandisk, even though I have one. There are others, Delkin Devices puts one out. And my personal favorite, a new card by Nextorage. This one is 165 gigs, and it's called the B1 Pro. They have the B1 SE and the B1 Pro. The B1 Pro is a faster card. In fact, it is the fastest card on the market right now. The B1 Pro actually is my go-to right now. I got 2 of them on Prime Day, and so far I love them. The company, Nextorage, is actually, it was actually started by 2 executives and engineers from Sony who 20 years ago started this company, and all they do is storage. So that's one of the things I like about it. They specialize in one thing and one thing only. So you want the speed of these higher pro cards. Now it is going to be more expensive. There's no doubt about it. But if you've got a Z8 and you've spent the money on a Z8, please get a proper card that can handle the buffer rate and everything else that the Z8 can do. This also will handle the video, even though I don't shoot video. Now, the other thing is, and I'm going to show you here, like the Z6 II, the Z8 has 2 slots. It has the the CFB Express B card, which are these cards right here, and then it has a slot for an SD card. Now, here's the problem. On my Z6 II, I use those 2 slots, the original, the raw photographs, and the secondary SD card as a backup. Great, fine. But you really can't do that, especially with the Z8. And I'll tell you why. Part of the problem is the speed of your camera and the speed of your ability to shoot is only going to be as fast as your slowest card. And, you know, SD cards just they're not as fast. Even with a V90, they're not as fast as these CF Express cards. It's just the way it is. They haven't caught up. They haven't gotten there. And pretty much all pro cameras are now going to these CF Express cards, which are a later edition of the original XQD. They're really solid. They're pretty hardy. The other thing that's important for me, even though I don't shoot video, because I'm in usually extreme conditions, next month I'm going to Borneo. It's 90-degree heat, 90-degree humidity, 90% humidity, I should say. You want a card that is heat resistant because you don't want it overheating in your camera. It's the last thing you want. So you can put this SD card in if you want, but you don't want to set it for backup. The only thing you should set it for is overflow. And I set it to JPEG. I won't be using it because I'm not going to set overflow to this. I have enough cards that I take with me that when it's done, it's good to go. Now, the other thing is, and I've mentioned this gadget before, this is the Nextorage DI, and I'll just go ahead and turn this on so you can see it. The Nextorage DI, and this is an external storage where you don't need a computer, and it will store all of your photographs in RAW. The beauty of this is you put your own SSD in here, so you can put whatever size SSD you want. And I typically change my SSDs for each, shoot I'm going on, so that I have a catalog of them. They're pretty cheap now. They're really not that expensive. So you just grab this one happens to be a dual CF Express X and XQD card reader. You hook it right up to the end of this Nextorage DI, and you see it says copy ready. You click a button, set it, and forget it. And it will verify that the card is good. It will verify everything and then copy over your card. I always bring this with me. It's not very heavy, but it's better than carrying my computer and external hard drives and all the other gadgets that take up space and weight, especially when you're traveling. So this little gadget is very handy to back up your photographs, especially since I'm not using that card to back up in camera, and redundancy is going to be critical. All right, so my verdict, I love the Z8. Don't use an SD card in it. And make sure, whatever you do, get these CF Express B cards that are the top of the line. The faster the card, the better your camera is going to perform. And you spent the money. Spend the money here. Thanks for watching. This is Mo from Pawl-Frederico Photography.